Before we go deeper into Galaxy Heroes, I'm going to make a bit of a sidestep in the Galaxy hole and talk about one of Sungold's own reworkings of their Galaxy Warriors mold with Wrestler. Sungold went back to the Galaxy well quite a bit to create new lines, and Wrestler is probably one of their first. Using the same mold to create Wrestler characters was used by a lot of the Galaxy Warrior knockoffs as well. And with a generic name like Wrestler, yeah, some of the knockoff lines were called the exact same thing. I actually got this guy within Canada, so his card is a little different than some of the other ones I've seen. The main difference being it's also got some of its text translated to French. This is also the only version of the card I've seen that said Wrestler is trademarked, which I don't think I quite believe. Also, in addition to the Sungold logo at the bottom, it has a company listed for the importer. So the Canadian version of Sungold Wrestler was imported by a company called Canasia Toys, based out of Ontario. It's possible Canasia was the importer for all of North America though, as I've seen them still listed on the back of non-Canadian cards as well. Trying to find what other products they've put out, I only found a couple, one being a Tamagotchi clone and another being a root bear plushie. Much like the Galaxy Warriors, Wrestler also invites us to collect the whole range of Wrestler. It seems there's only two different belts any of these Wrestler figures came with, one being the Heavyweight Championship and the other being the less coveted Television Championship, which is of course the championship my guy came with. It seems to be a lot harder to find the Galaxy Wrestlers still with their accessories when you find them loose. The accessories that came with the Series 1 Sungold Wrestler, because yes, there were multiple releases of these guys, were a felty vest and a championship. Since neither of the accessories with the Sungold Wrestler were made out of plastic like the Galaxy Warrior stuff, it's probably just easier for kids to get these destroyed or lost. The earlier releases of the Sungold Wrestler have a backstamp much like the version 2 Galaxy Warriors, which reads Sungold made in Hong Kong. But later releases of the Series 1 Sungold Wrestler and Series 2 Sungold Wrestlers just have Sungold on the back. There's also long arm variants of some of the Wrestler figures, which is another can of worms I'll talk about more in one of the other Galaxy videos. Now, as you've probably noticed, Sungold's Wrestler wasn't one of their more creative lines, as this guy is just Triton with a beard. And there was no mold modification done whatsoever, it is just a painted on beard to the Triton face. And I think they tried to hide the belt with the furry trunks a bit by just leaving them both the same color. He also sort of has pants or wrestling tights since they've molded his legs in a black plastic, which they also added some fancy red lines down the side of. Now, according to the back of the card, our Triton with a beard here is named Brut. Here's your winner and new television wrestling champion, Brut. Seriously? Is that the best you got? Nobody makes fun of Brut! Oh no! The sad thing is, though, I can't say Brut is the worst of the names they give on the back of this card by far, as the guy who is not ball-tarred at all is named Mask. So I'm sure the creative process there went, hey, we can reuse the ball-tarred mold if we just pretend it's a mask. That's it. That's his name too. Mask. Brilliant. But I think my favorite lazy name is A-Champ. Wow. And who could Mr. Unknown possibly be? Yeah, Series 1 of Wrestler actually only used 3 different head molds painted slightly differently to be their 6 characters. So you also had a blonde Triton who was named Mark, Which, by the way, wasn't the only time Triton went blonde to become a new character. Then there were two characters made using Raw's head mold, one being the stupid A Champ and the other being CG. Both times just giving him a mustache to make him obviously someone completely different. This also wasn't the only time they gave Raw a mustache in one of their lines. Apparently they just really liked doing that. Come on though, wrestler, don't you think 2 ball-tards in a single line is too many?
But Mask Tard! Wow, way to give away your identity, Mask! Idiot! Aw, Mask!
By the way, this is not actually the second ball-tard in the wrestler line, Mr. Unknown, but Turley Gang's Sato. However, he seems to be a reworking of that guy. The big difference between Sato and Mr. Unknown is Sato has purple skin like ball-tard. Also, Mr. Unknown is wearing some dark brown instead of being in complete black like Sato. So while Mr. Unknown has a tank top painted onto his chest, Mask has an eagle tattoo in the middle of his chest. Which also isn't the only time Sungold decided to use that. I've seen a couple things say that the Brett figure is supposed to be Billy Jack Haynes, who I don't really know too much about besides some crazy YouTube videos. But it's just Triton with a beard, and obviously the masked ball-tard doesn't really resemble any specific wrestler. So I don't think Sungold were trying to copy any specific wrestler, at least in Series 1 of this line. In Series 2 they did. Series 2 of Sungold's wrestler line looks to have come out a good amount of time after the first, as it's got a much more 90s look to it, and the original probably didn't come out too long after the Galaxy Warriors in 1983. This time, the logo for wrestler invokes much more of a WrestleMania logo vibe. The back of this card is actually colored, featuring another batch of 6 figures, but without names this time. But they did at least have much brighter color schemes in Series 2. They once again reworked Ball-Tard, Raw, and Triton for the line, with Raw and Triton both getting 2 more wrestler figures again. But only one for stupid Ball-Tard this time. Now, one of Raw's new wrestler figures is a kind of obvious Ultimate Warrior ripoff. And if you have any doubts that's who it's supposed to be, well, the card makes it more than clear that, oh yeah, that's who he is. The other most obvious ripoff character is Triton's repaint as a member of the Demolition Tag Team. Now, they actually had a few new head molds this time, one being this blonde beard guy decked out in yellow and red, so he might be a very playing it safe Hogan. Now, there were a few other characters in Wrestler Series 2, but they mostly seem to have been packaged with the wrestling ring playset. Now, since the Robic copy, Ivan the Snake Man, is currently the only Madison wrestling champion that I have, I'm going to include him in this video. The wrestling champion figures did the exact same thing as the Sungold wrestlers, just with the Galaxy Fighters mold. The Madison Wrestling Champions line actually created a lot more unique head sculpts for their line than the original Sungold one. They actually only reworked 2 other Galaxy Fighters than Robic for the line, which were a blonde Inobe and a white flesh-toned Batoon. Now, funny enough, on one version of the Madison Wrestling Champions card, you've got some obvious knockoff Hulk Hogan artwork. However, it would seem they weren't quite as confident when it came to actually making the figure, as it is decidedly less Hogan. But don't worry, further down the wrestler knockoff line, they weren't as worried about ripping off Hogan. Once again, we were invited to collect the whole range, such as Terrible Tony, Gorilla Man, Ivan the Snake Man, Scorpion Sam, Indian Joe, and Powerful Pete. Later versions of the card also gave us some names for some of the other figures in the line, such as Bad John Brown, the American Eagle, Mr. Tattoo, Killer Bandit, Tomahawk Terror, and Masked Devil. With the Wrestling Champions figures, you've got the Galaxy Fighters trunks trying to be passed off as tights in the exact same way as the wrestler line. And they colored the legs differently, though in Ivan the Robik's case here, they made some kind of odd choices. Now, painting in where the laces are, that's okay, I can understand that one, but why the hell did they extend the boot higher than where the boot is on the mold? That one just comes off looking particularly sloppy, and there was no need for it at all. Oh well, 3 stars. Hey, that's not how I score this shit. And of course, with Robik the wrestler, they made this look a lot more like a mask than whatever the hell Robik was. And they painted some X's on the back of his head to give the illusion that it was laced up. These figures are the exact same as a Galaxy Warrior and Fighter, good quality plastic with a rubbery head. The paint jobs are all fine, though it might have been nice if they could have actually modified the Triton head mold slightly for his beard. Really, the worst looking part was the unmodified mold when they had the higher boots, which were just painted on. And Sungold actually did the same thing as well with some of their figures in their second series. 9. It was a pretty decent way to get more mileage out of some of their Galaxy Warriors molds, to just paint them a bit differently to make the new wrestler figures. Only a couple of characters later on seemed like direct copies of actual wrestlers. But in some cases, it might have been nice if they could have varied up the original Galaxy Warrior head molds a bit more. Also, I wish they hadn't just kept mostly using the same 3 Galaxy Warriors all the time. If you can pretend Baltard's head is a mask, you could have done the same thing for some of the other Galaxy Warriors like Anubi, Sahak, and Tiger Man. It would have been kinda cool to see them try and make those guys into wrestlers. 6. Honestly, out of the many uses the Galaxy Warriors molds have had, this was probably the one that was easiest to see coming. 1. The name of this line is probably the most uninspired of all of Sungold's. Now, I like some of the design of the original wrestler card, and while it's kinda neat they make the figure look like it's in the ring, it's a bit disappointing not to get any of the crazy Sungold artwork on the front. But hey, that's what Series 2 in this line is for, with the ultimate raw ears stretching out Demolition Triton. Also, on the back of the card in Series 1, we did get some classic Galaxy Warrior modified artwork for the wrestler line, plus a champ making short work of Mr. Unknown, I believe? Stupid baltards all look the same, am I right? I probably shouldn't have said that. 6. For the mid-80s to early 90s when these first came out, they would have been really nice generic wrestler figures with especially good articulation for the time. Though I'm sure a lot of people probably wanted figures based on real wrestlers, and you didn't get that as much here. 7. And the bootleg zones overall is 7! They are as nice of figures as the Galaxy Warriors. The things that bring this line down is the especially generic name and the constant reuse of the same head molds.
So, it would seem I'm being forced to put my television title on the line tonight by Skeletor McMahon.
That's right.
And I know you're not gonna like my opponent for tonight, Mask. You suck, Brat. Mask, 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 mask. Oh yeah, I forgot I was in Baltard country. Guess I'm the heel tonight. And by the way, Brett, by decree of Commissioner Robic, there's gonna be a special guest referee for our match tonight. That's right, Brett. I'm gonna be the special guest referee. Ivan the Snake Man's gonna be the special referee. Already some bombshells dropped on us tonight. I'm a newbie at ringside with Sharphand Joe. Sharphand, who do you think's gonna win tonight?
I don't really care as long as these two beat the shit out of each other.
Oh, classic Sharphand Joe. Well, looks like we're about to get things started here. And that's what it's all about. The richest prize in all of television. Yoink! Omar brought with the cheap shot with the title right off the bat!
But if Ivan disqualifies him, he doesn't get the title, so I guess he's just gonna fuck around over there.
How dare you! I got knocked over! Ah! I'm so dizzy! I can't count the pinfall! Ah! Looks like Mask is getting back to his feet! Omar! Stunner! Brett with the stunner! Brett's got the title won! And once again, Ivan is not counting the pinfall. How is this fair, a newbie? Omar! It's not! Omar!
I really wish you'd stop saying that.
Looks like Brett's had enough of the refereeing for this match. Oh, he's attacking Ivan! He's attacking Ivan! Powerbomb! Oh, yeah! I'm back! Brett might have wasted too much time here, Sharphand attacking the referee. Mask has got him set up. Tombstone! Tombstone! 1, 2, 3! Ring the bell! Ring the bell! Omar! A ball-tard screw job! Brett can't believe it! To all my fans, I'd just like to say, Mask-tard! I might have backed the wrong guy. Damn it.
Oh, now he realizes that, of course.
What'd you think of tonight's matchup, Sharphand?
Oh, I was really surprised. A screw job. That's new in wrestling.
You know what, Sharphand? You're cynical. That's what you are.
Okay.